Welcome, folks. Today on the Louisville Business Review, we have the pleasure of having Mr. Timothy Sneed. Timothy runs a very successful karaoke DJ business that I'm going to let him describe. He can do it better than me, I'm sure. So without any further ado, Tim, lead us in. What is the name of your company? What do you do?
Okay, well, my name is Tim Sneed, and I'm the veteran owner and operator of Night Moves Karaoke. It's a business that I kind of did as a side business for about 5 years until recently, back in April 30th, I retired from a 30-year career at the Veteran Affairs Hospital. And I've been doing it full time now for about, 9 months. And it's kind of taken off and been pretty successful, a business for me. I'm in several different locations throughout the city and in Southern Indiana. And basically I work from Monday through Saturday, and I get one day off a week, so to speak. And I'm just enjoying it. They always say, you gotta, if you do something that you're passionate about and that you love, it really is never a job. And so that's kind of what has fell into my lap. And I've been very fortunate to meet a ton of people, make a lot of connections, and just be very happy with what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. The passion is something that we see over and over again in entrepreneurship. And we definitely hear that in your voice, which is wonderful. So what were you doing before getting into this business, and what led you into this business?
Well, I was, of course, I had a career in the Marine Corps for about 10 years. And then once I transitioned out of the Marine Corps, I was very fortunate to get a job with the Department of Veteran Affairs. And right before I retired, I worked in education, the education department of Veteran Affairs, which, I was actually helping people, with their careers in the federal workforce of the VA, teaching them leadership traits and stuff like that, and helping them advance their career. And once I had 30 years under my belt, I decided to, take a leap of faith and go into doing karaoke full time. I actually got started, by chance. I had a friend of mine that introduced me to karaoke and kind of pushed me to sing one night. And they were all telling me, wow, you sound like Bob Seger. So I was like, wow, okay, well, I didn't think so, but they thought so. And so the more I kept singing, the more they kept telling me that I sounded like Bob Seger. So I have kind of, tributed my business to, Bob Seger. It's kind of one of his songs is Night Moves. And so Night Moves Karaoke is my company business.
I love it. I love it. Maybe before we get off, we can hear a tune or two.
Not from me.
Oh my God. That.
There's plenty on the page. There's plenty on the Facebook page you can see, though.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. And how many employees do you have at the moment?
Right now, it's just me. I've had a couple of employees that's worked for me in the past that, once I trained them, once I helped them get started, they ended up going off and branching off and doing their own karaoke company. And I have two young ladies that started their business. It's called T&T Karaoke. And then I have another young lady that's running her business. It's called Hippie Chick Karaoke. And they all kind of worked for me and I kind of brought them into the business as they had an interest into it. And I have another gentleman that kind of started his is still in kind of the infancy. He still works full time and he does his, as needed, so to speak. But yeah, I've had a couple of different employees, but really the main employee is me. I'm Night Moves Karaoke, and that's that. Until we kind of venture into other areas like weddings and stuff like that, it's just me.
Wonderful. And how do you get most of your clients, and who is the ideal client for you?
Well, right now I'm in sports bars and restaurants and venues of that such. Right now, my current schedule is on Mondays. I'm at the Corner Pizza Pub out on Murphy Lane. On Tuesday nights, I'm at Rudy's Sports Bar on Westport Road. Wednesdays and Thursdays, I'm at Spectators Bar and Grill on New Cut Road. And then on Fridays, I'm at the Uptown Bar in New Albany, Indiana. And then on Saturdays, I'm at Old Dolly's, which is on Old 3rd Street here in Louisville, Kentucky. So I got a busy schedule. And like I said, only days off right now are Sundays, but I'm getting calls for Sunday too, as we speak.
Wow. So it looks like your demand is increasing, and it seems like more people are wanting to hire you for your services. So
Yeah.
if the demand keeps increasing, where do you see your business going in the next, let's say, 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years? What would you like to see happen?
Yeah, I have a goal of actually stepping back and of running the karaoke at one time at a certain time, and that means that I would end up hiring karaoke jockeys, to run the day-to-day businesses in the venues, and maybe transition into doing more weddings and private events myself. And that may be a year or 2 years down the road, as my brand becomes more popular, and as more people request my services. That's probably where I'll have to go, because I can't do it all right now. I'm just doing what I can.
Right.
And it's grown, because I used to only do it like on Thursdays, Friday, and Saturdays when I was working full time. But now I'm doing it pretty much every day a week except for Sunday, because I do it. I think I do a pretty good job, and I host a pretty good show, and people are following me, and people continue to follow me. So it makes you feel good when people give you compliments and tell you that you have a great business and a great sound and a great karaoke system.
Absolutely. I read some of your reviews, and I looked at all the likes you have on Facebook, and it seems like you have some really good loyal fans that follow you, and whichever venue you might be at. So this is great.
I call them rock stars, because every time they sing, they're a rock star, right?
That's right.
And so I always, my kind of catchphrase is come and be a rock star.
I love that. Come and be a rock star. That's great.
Yeah.
And have you always had this entrepreneurial spirit as a child, or is this something that developed over time?
I think when in the Marine Corps, I learned a lot about leadership when I was in the Marines, and I always had a desire to own my own business at one day. I've owned party buses, I've done limos. I decided karaoke was something that I could do, and it wasn't going to kill me, so to speak. I wasn't very wealthy to be able to have a business that needed a lot of inventory and a lot of startup money. So karaoke just kind of fell into my lap, actually, because it's a passion that I enjoy doing, and then there's a way to make revenue and use your product to make a living as well.
Beautiful. And what was the toughest thing that you went through when you were starting out in your early?
I think the toughest thing is selling yourself to somebody that's willing to pay you to do your karaoke in their business. And you have to never sell yourself short, and you have to be very confident about the product that you're going to bring to their company. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you're offering something that's professional, and that people want to continue to come back and come to their business and frequent their business. I think karaoke is kind of like a cult here in Louisville. There's a lot of people that follow karaoke and that love singing karaoke, and there's a couple of different different groups on Facebook that follow karaoke. There's a Kentuckiana Karaoke Facebook page, and then there's a Louisville's Best Karaoke Singers that a bunch of like-minded individuals that love karaoke are all on and following. So that's where basically everybody can see where other karaoke DJs are playing, and as well as my venues as well.
Wow, that's great. It's so nice of you to share those resources. It's very obvious from the way that you're speaking and sharing that you're very passionate about what you do. If you were to start over again from day one, what would you do differently?
If I could start over from day one, I don't know. I don't know that. To do something, that's so engaging with the public. I don't necessarily think that I could do anything different. I wish I would have had done this, early on in my career. I'm now 52 years old, so I mean, I wish I'd have done it earlier in my career. But things fell in place, and it just I'm very fortunate to be able to have had a career in the federal workforce, and now be able to do this and make a living and still enjoy what I do. So I really don't think I would have done anything different.
That's great. That's great. If someone was starting out and they wanted to get your advice, what's the top advice you would give to a young entrepreneur?
I would tell them to don't be afraid to go out and make mistakes, because you're going to learn from your mistakes. A lot of people are afraid to take that initial step of starting their own business and following their dreams, because they're set in this 9-to-5 job. They're restricted on either cash flow or something is always restricting them. But there's avenues and there's things out there that can help them, and there are people that are out there that can help them start their passion, which it could be a bakery, it could be cooking, it could be anything. But I think if you're willing to take that chance and go ahead and follow your dreams, I think that's the very first step. And everything else will just fall in place based on your successes and your failures.
Yep.
That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly. What would you say were some of your biggest challenges along your entrepreneurial journey, and what lessons have you learned from them?
Well, I think in the beginning it was time. Time was very limited because I was working a full-time position. To grow my business, it was time was the issue. And I think there's probably a lot of people that are in that same situation where they're limited on time because they have families to provide for or something like that, and they have a full-time job. So for me, it was to have the time to be able to concentrate all of my efforts on my karaoke business. And I was very fortunate to be able to, kind of step away from my career in last April, and do this full time.
Beautiful. And, different small businesses have been impacted differently from the pandemic. How has your business been impacted, if at all? And what are you doing differently to move forward post all that?
Karaoke is a very social event, and I can tell you for a fact that we were shut down for several months in 2020, and even in 2021. So the alcoholic beverage control shut us down, and most of our venues that served alcohol. And if it wasn't a private event, I couldn't operate my business. So for a while there, it was very scary, and it still is a something that's kind of in the back of my mind that if this could all stop at any minute. It could, and that's the scary part of my karaoke business, because it's so dependent on being in a social environment where you have groups of people. And so during the height of the pandemic, we changed the way we did karaoke. We would put these mic covers on the microphones to try and limit passing any germs or anything like that. I would wipe down the microphones with sanitation, liquids and stuff like that. And we even had some, doing. And the great thing about it is all of us here in Louisville, all of the karaoke DJs, were sharing ideas to try and do a safe show. And so during the pandemic, a lot of people were affected, and a lot of people, lost that income during that time. So yeah, we had to change the ways that we were doing things, and try and offer a safe environment where they could still sing karaoke.
Beautiful. Are you finding now that demand is the same as it was pre-pandemic, or less or more?
I think it's slowly coming back. Before pandemic, I mean, like I told you, it's a cult following. People love karaoke here in Louisville. It's a very big thing here in Louisville, and the Southern Indiana area. But after the pandemic, I think there's still some people very shy about coming out in public, and they're just, they're just worried that they're gonna, get sick or pass the sickness off if they have it or don't have it. So I mean, and rightfully so, they should be, kind of a little bit precautious. but it is slowly but surely, getting back to, people starting to come out.
Yeah.
So that's a big hurdle that we gotta, overcome is, the fear of coming out. So if we are social people by nature, we got to be surrounded by people, and hopefully, eventually all this will be behind us and we won't have to worry about it no more.
Amen. Yes. And what would you say, Tim, is your business's unique selling position? What separates you from the competition out there?
Well, I like to tell people, that my karaoke business, I take pride on the sound. I take pride on the equipment that I have. It's taken me several years to acquire the state-of-the-art sound and quality. I like to make sure that I have a song that the individual wants to sing. So every 3 to 4 months, I'm updating my playlist with new material, new songs. So the whole experience, I want them to enjoy and sound like a rock star. If they're there, I want them to have a pleasant experience. And they get up there. Some people don't sound very good. Some people sound great. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of talented singers in Louisville. And so, I always try and build them up and make them feel like, they were not on American Idol, but they still did a great job, And so that's the experience that I like to pass on to people. Hey, for this 3 or 4 minute song, you're the rock star right here. You're on stage and everybody's watching you, and it's all about you.
Beautiful. And what would you say, Tim, is your number one way to bring in customers?
The biggest advantage that I've had is the free social media, Facebook pages. My page is very active. I have a social media, Facebook, Instagram page for Night Moves Karaoke. And then, of course, on my personal page, Timothy W. Sneed, I post a lot of videos and a lot of pictures of all the venues that I'm at. I tell everybody all the time, I said, you're going to be Facebook famous tonight. And I do live feeds a lot of the time. So utilizing social media spreads the word and gets my name out there free of charge.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, if in terms of goals looking forward, if there's one big thing that, you can say emphatically once you've achieved it, yes, I've done it. What would be that one thing that you would be excited about achieving?
I don't know. I think my biggest goal right now is to move into more of a hosting weddings and doing weddings. And that's another avenue of the DJ services that I offer that right now are kind of limited. I don't do a whole lot of those, basically because I'm booked, pretty much Monday through Saturday. And if I was to do a wedding on like a Friday or Saturday, then I would have to find a replacement or somebody to do my current venues. And you take a chance of losing that venue if you're missing, don't come very often. So I don't want to do that. So I think as my business grows, I'll be bringing on more people to try and help me facilitate that and grow into the wedding and private venue areas and still maintain the karaoke side of Night Moves Karaoke and DJ services.
That's beautiful. Those are most all the questions that I had for you today. Is there anything else that you'd like to add or share with the audience?
Oh, I just like to tell everybody, if you're interested in karaoke, go out there, enjoy yourself, have fun, and remember, not everybody's going to be on American Idol. Just enjoy the time out there and come out and come to any one of my shows, and you're going to be a rock star for the night. That's definitely what it's going to be.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Tim, for this. And
thank you.
Looking forward to seeing your progress and having you back again one day.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Are you struggling to figure out the best ways to promote your business? Forget about the failed attempts and get your business featured at Louisville Business Review to experience the real-time conversion and aspire to new heights of success with greater exposure and ROI. Visit www.louisvillebusinessreview.com to get featured now.